As rightly said by Jim Watkins, a river cuts through Rick not because of its power but because of its persistence. With this, a very refreshing good evening to everyone present here. I, Priyanka Verma, welcome you all in this 57th Graduate Scholars Talk series hosted by History Society, Sakshay and IQAC. Graduate Scholars Talk series, which started with just one aim in mind to spread knowledge and skills, is now recognized all over the country and recently was also broadcasted on Doordarshan News. The success behind this is of our convener, Dr. Manish Kanwal, and the moderator, Mr. Saurabh Singh, Mr. Ajay Gupta, Ms. Samriddhi Kanpal, Ms. Manvi Saraswat, and Ms. Shubhi Singh. Before starting our main event, let us take blessings of Goddess Saraswati. As we all know, Ma Saraswati is an eternal goddess of knowledge, music, art, speech, and wisdom. Goddess Saraswati is worshipped and devotees seek knowledge and wisdom in the form of blessings. Therefore, in order to seek her blessings and initiate the session, I would like to call Ms. Purnima for Saraswati Vandana.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युत शङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा। श्लोक अर्थ। जो विद्या की देवी भगवती सरस्वती कुंद के फूल, चंद्रमा, हिम राशि और मोती के हार की तरह धवन वर्ण की है और जो श्वेत वस्त्र धारण करती हैं, जिनके हाथ में वीणादंड शोभायमान है, जिन्होंने श्वेत कमलों पर आसन ग्रहण किया है तथा ब्रह्मा, विष्णु एवं शंकर आदि देवताओं द्वारा जो सदा पूजित हैं, वहीं संपूर्ण जड़ता और अज्ञान को दूर कर देने वाली माँ सरस्वती हमारी रक्षा करें।
Thank you, Ms. Purnima, for the melodious start of our event. Now let's move ahead for the proceedings of this wonderful event. Now I welcome our respected guest of honor, Dr. Nartam Vivekanand Mothiram, sir, who is currently working as an assistant professor at Shamlal College, University of Delhi. Sir has worked as a parliamentary secretary to members of parliament from Congress, BJP and Shiv Sena. He also serves as the Secretary General of Center for Democracy, Pluralism and Human Rights, that is a New Delhi-based research institute. He regularly participates in national news channel talk shows as a political analyst. Sir, with your due permission, I would like to start the program.
Yeah, you may proceed. Thank you so much.
Sir. Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to call Mr. Ishant Sharma to give his talk on the topic Japan and South Korea, a neighborhood challenges and contradictions. Mr. Ishant, the stage is all yours.
A very warm evening to one and all present here. My name is Ishant Sharma, student of SGTB Khalsa College pursuing political science honors. Today I am going to present talk on South Korea and Japan bilateral relationship, which will help us to give better picture of bilateral relationship between Japan and South Korea. In this umbrella topic, I will be stating some objective which I will take in my talk, which includes historical bitterness, war crimes during World War II, post-relationship, territorial disputes, trade and commercial issues, America's role in the entire context. South Korea and Japan remains two most ancient civilizations in the world. With their importance in international platform, these countries remains as the diamond of Asia. दक्षिण कोरियाई संस्कृति और जापानी संस्कृति सबसे प्राचीन संस्कृतियों में से एक है. These countries remains as very much important nowadays because there may be a potential Cold War risk between United States of America and China. These countries hold very much strategic importance in the world. नए युग के अंदर शीत युद्ध का आगमन हो सकता है. इन दो देशों की उसके अंदर बहुत बड़ी भूमिका रहेगी. We could see the important place of these countries very much. We could also observe the juggernaut of their soft power diplomacy in the world. We are grown up in the world where we were collaborated. We were with Japanese animes, cartoons like Pokemon, Shin-chan, Doraemon. Even if we see the newest culture of K-pop, K-drama, and Korean drama, we could easily examine the importance of these countries in the world. Now, if I talk about the geographical location of these countries, South Korea, a country which is situated in East Asia, it occupies the southern portion of Korean Peninsula. The country shares boundary with the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, which is known as North Korea, to the north. To the east, it covers Sea of Japan. To its south, it covers East China Sea. On the other hand, Japan, an island country lying off the east coast of Asia, it consists of great string of islands in the north, east and southwest arc. It stretches from approximately 1500 meters through western northern Pacific Ocean. Nearly the entire land area is taken up to the country, four main islands from north to south. Now, if we see the military power of these, the People's Republic of Korea has one of the most powerful country in the world, has one of the most powerful army in the world, which has annual budget of $54 trillion. On the other hand, Japan also has one of the most powerful army in the world, which trades $5.4 trillion. If we see the country South Korea is one of the most major important country in Asia with capital Seoul, currency won, official scripture Hangul, and 10th largest GDP in the world. If if we see another Japan is one of the most mega country in the world with the capital Tokyo, currency yuan, official scripture Japanese, fifth largest gross domestic product in the world. And if we see the cultural tradition of this country, Japan and South Korea has strong culture and tradition in the world, which Japan has 51% Shinto people and 34% of its population is Buddhist. 2% of its people are Christians. On the other hand, South Korea has 19% Protestants, 22% Buddhist, and 10% Catholic religion, and 54 people are non-religious, not affiliated to any religion. Now, if we talk the political structure of South Korea, there is government which follows unitary presidential republic, President Moon Jae-in, Prime Minister Kim Bo-yoon. And if we see the political structure of Japan, it has unitary parliamentary constitutional monarchy, Emperor Naruhito, Prime Minister Fuku Kishidaka. And if we see the economy of these countries, both countries are considered as the most powerful economy of Asia or East Asian giants. Approximately economy of Japan is $5.2 trillion and the economy of South Korea is $1.6 trillion. Both countries are very much rich in technology. They host many great companies in their countries like Hyundai, Kia, Samsung, LG, Mitsubishi, Nippon, Honda, Kodak, Panasonic, Sony, which suggests that these countries are robust in technological industry. Now, if we talk about the historical grievances, both countries have long history of hostility. Both Korea and Japan calls each other very much closer
Sir.
geographically, but they are much opposite to each other historically. If we analyze the prehistory to 16th century, Yamamoto court maintained or established diplomatic relationship between Korean kingdom with Japanese kingdom, from where Buddhism, Confucianism, Chinese characteristics were transmitted to Japan and relationship were established between two kingdoms. But after Mongolian invasion of Korea and Japanese invasion, things got disrupted or disrupt, and aftermath Japan made enormous attacks on Korean coastal areas. Even we could see the Admiral Sun Lee-shin, who defended Japanese navy, still remains as the national hero of Korea. Effects of Meiji Restoration and annexation of Korea. Following opening up of Japan in 1868, direct imperial rule, more capitalistic approach of Japan to the system, Japan was successful in planting its influence over Korean peninsula. With the war with Russians in Russo-Japanese War 1904 and 1905, peninsula Japan got full control over Japanese peninsula. By signing Korean-Japanese Convention of 1905, Japan get full administrative control of Korean Peninsular Foreign Service. With the rising influence of Japanese, Japan successfully planted its authority over military, administrative system, judiciary, executive system, and people who laid anti-Japanese sentiments were held for scrutiny. Even this period was associated with the identity crisis as Japanese promoted their Shinto religion. Shinto shrines were constructed in Korea, and the Japanese language was promoted in Korea, as well as the newborn babies were laid Japanese name. Another thing which makes very much important is the World War II and war crimes. Japan fought under the flagship of Axis powers. In the duration of World War II, Korea tasted the taste of brutal Japanese imperialism. According to DW Agency, between 1937 to 1945, Japan employed millions of forced laborers throughout its colonies from Asia. It estimated that 5 lakh South Koreans were forced in Japan, were held in pathetic working conditions, forced to live in pathetic conditions, were forced to also work in harsh conditions in dangerous coal mines. Comfort women. According to Erin Blankende, in the duration to take over China, Japanese soldiers held massive rape with approximately 20,000 to 80,000 Chinese women were raped by Japanese soldiers. It is known as Nanking incident. This massive rape horrified the whole world. Even the emperor Hirohito at that time, who was very much concerned about the identity of Japan, got very much defended because of this act. The concept of comfort woman was introduced to prevent transmission of sexual diseases and fulfill the sexual apartheid of Japanese soldiers. Women were recruited from Korea and Japan were forced to have sex with Japanese soldiers. These comfort women were laid in inhuman conditions. Testimony suggests us that they were in high pain. Diseases were frequent. Pregnancies. Comfort women were the worst sufferer in Asia during World War II. After that, we could see the post World War II and Korean War scenario. When Japanese army defeated in World War II, Allied forces ने जापान पे कब्जा करके वहाँ डेमोक्रेटिक इंस्टीट्यूशन का एस्टेब्लिशमेंट करा और कोरियन पेनिनसुला भी अलाइडेड फोर्स में आया. जो नॉर्थ कोरिया था उसके अंदर सोवियत यूनियन ने अपने जैसा एक सिस्टम बिठाया जिसे हम कम्युनिस्ट सिस्टम मानते हैं, और जो दक्षिण कोरिया था उसके अंदर अमेरिका ने अपना सिस्टम लिबरल डेमोक्रेसी को एस्टैब्लिश करा. जब कोरियन वॉर शुरू हुई तो नॉर्थ कोरिया ने जब साउथ कोरिया को इन्वेड करा तो जापान की बहुत अहम भूमिका थी उसको बचाने में. Japan has played very enormous role in the defendment of South Korea. Post World War II and post Korean War. After the Korean War, the most paramount thing, सबसे important thing थी South Korea के लिए was to rebuild its economy, to have economical development. So South Korea inked treaty with Japan, which is known as Korean-Japan Treaty of 1965. In this treaty, Japan agreed to provide $8 million to South Korea, also agreed to give as a compensation to the war crimes they committed, the atrocities they have committed over Korean people. Also, they agreed to give permanent residency to the Koreans living in Japan prior World War II. But controversies haunted them again. There was certain rapid economical development of Japanese economy and South Korean economy created a warm condition, but still unfortunate accidents, disputes soured the relationship between two nation states. First of all was Japanese historical textbook controversy evolved in the content in which Japanese government tried to whitewash their atrocities, their actions they have committed during World War II in Indo-Pacific. They tried to whitewash the atrocities they have committed over innocent Korean people and innocent women during World War II. South Korean government protested against this. Another important thing is the naming dispute. The use of term Sea of Japan as a dominant name is a point of contention between both countries. South Korea wants the name to be East of Sea to be used instead of Sea of Japan. There are claims that Korean side that the term Sea of Japan was included after Japanese invasion of Korea in 1910. Prior that it was known as East of Korea or East Sea. Another important or I will say one of the major issues between South Korea and Japan is LIANCOURT Rocks Island. LIANCOURT Rock Island, which are a new boiling point between South Korea and Japan, is a disputed territory between South Korea and Japan. These islands have high fishing potential as well as high methane gas resources. Both countries claim their autonomy over these islands. अगला जो है वो है किमची डिस्प्यूट। किमची एक बहुत लोकप्रिय दक्षिण कोरियाई खाना है जिसे बहुत ज़्यादा प्रसिद्ध खाना है, दुनिया भर में मशहूर है। जो जापानी है और जो दक्षिण कोरिया है वो अपने अपने पेटेंट के लिए इस व्यंजन पे अपना अधिकार दिखाते हैं, which is also a bone of contention between these countries. Another main thing is on the ban on Japanese seafood. South Korean government has banned all the seafood imports from Japan due to the concern of high radioactive contamination in the sea. The ban also includes over fish, crabs, etc. The ban made Japanese government so furious, so angry that they issued complaint against South Korean government in WTO, World Trading Organization, which later Japan won. Another thing which makes the issue more vibrant is that disposal of radioactive waste of Fukushima nuclear power plant. Fukushima nuclear power plant was situated in Japan, which had its disposable issues. So when Japanese government tried to dispose the waste material of nuclear power plant, which made a bone of contention between South Korea and Japan, South Korean government launched protest against Japan's unilateral decision. Even they summoned the ambassador, Japanese ambassador to their country. Civil protests were held against Japan's decision. Even the South Korean government considered legal action against Japan. South Korean parliament also passed a resolution taking the note Japanese water waste discharge plan. Another main issue which I personally feel that this issue is the Supreme Court of South Korea and other high court ordered several Japanese companies to pay compensation to the family members of South Koreans who were treated as slaves during World War II. Japanese government protested against this decision. They stated that we have settled all our compensation in 1965. So why are you asking compensation again and again? But in retaliation, Japanese government removed South Korea also from most favorite trading partner, citing that South Korea is violating United Nations Charter by providing illegal material to North Korea. Now I see the America's role. America has played very tremendous role into this region. They play very much important role in this strategic region. United States of America remains very much relevant in this region after World War II. They have established their liberal democratic country values in this tradition, modernity to this tradition. According to Diplomat magazine, President Johnson has played very crucial role in striking deal between Japan and South Korea, which is known as 1965 deal. America has very much say in this deal. Ronald Reagan was very much fascinated about the culture tradition about these countries. They have always hoped that these countries should come together and fight against common enemies of America. And Ronald Reagan also remains as a strong pillar who has provided economical and military strength to these countries, and they see them as very important ally. Now I see that the rising factors and actors which are changing in geopolitics, these things have become more important as expansionist China is haunting its neighbor, trying to influence South China Sea. So for America, these countries remains one of the most important countries because they have very much proximity with China, as well as America also have one enemy in this region, which is North Korea. North Korean army as well as North Korea has ballistic missiles, which Kim Jong-un, the premier of North Korea, haunts America and its neighbor on regular basis. So America has a lot to say in this area. In my conclusion, I would like to say, as the hike of Asian powers, South Korea and Japan, as one of the most fastest growing economy in the world, following World War II and Korean War. Both countries have evolved from one of the most poor and vibrant manufacturing powerhouses who have successfully eradicated poverty, hunger, illiteracy, and constructed their country. But if I see Japan and South Korea have very much things common with each other. There are more people to people connect. South Korea sends more tourists to Japan than any other country except China, while South Korea tourist industry gets benefit from Japanese tourists as well as Japanese supply for the bilateral relationship, robust bilateral relationship. If we indeed we show both countries have a lot to say. As India, as we see the contemporary things, India has great relationship with both Japan and South Korea. India believes on the principle of Vasudev Kutumbakam. We believe that India could be very much important player in Indo-Pacific. India could be a major power in Indo-Pacific, and India could help maintaining the bilateral relationship between Japan and South Korea. India could achieve the main goal by taking two big countries together to defend the common enemy who is situated beyond the Himalayas, and to protect the sovereignty and integrity, and to maintain world peace order. And their bilateral cooperation and collaboration is very much necessary to defend expansionist China, nuclear armed North Korea, and to combat climate change and coronavirus. Thank you.
Thank you. So now it's time for you to solve some queries. The first question is asked by Miss Anjali Sharma. Miss Anjali Sharma, if you could unmute yourself and ask your question.
So first of all, Ishant, your talk was really amazing and very informative. So my question is, how do you see the Russia and Japan relations? Could you throw some light or give your opinion on it?
I honestly see Japan and Russia, they are neighbors, but after post World War II, Soviet Union, was against the West, and Japan was very much in the group of America, and it remains very much crucial. And both were the neighbors, and they have some territorial issues too. If we see the recent issue, Ukraine Russia, Japanese companies have boycotted Russian oil, and Japan has also condemned the aggression which Russia showed in Ukraine. So I see that the bilateral relationship is still in deep dark, but still both countries are collaborating over the climate change and nuclear disarmament, and many issues they are together solving. But I still see Japan much closer to America, and Russia much closer to China.
Okay, great, Mr. Ishant. The next question is asked by Mr. Raj Shankar Shukla. Mr. Raj, if you could unmute yourself and ask your question. All right, I'll ask it. He has asked, what is the future of South Korea and Japan collaboration over North Korea?
Uh, North Korea acts as the binding force for South Korea and Japan. They have common threat with North Korea, as North Korea is a totalitarian, one-party communist state. They are very much isolated from world perspective, and North Korea has nuclear arsenals in their backyard. So it is very much necessary for both countries to collaborate together to contain the rise of North Korea. North Korea is an aggressive state. In 2005, United States of America has declared North Korea as a Roger state, and they have no commitment to any international organization. They are very much away from international conventions, treaties. So it is very much necessary for both South Korea and Japan. They are actually natural allies who follow liberal democracy, freedom of movement, free market, human rights. So it is very much necessary for both South Korea and Japan to be together to hold these nuclear arsenals back.
Okay, Mr. Ishant, thank you. The next question is asked by Miss Sneha Pal. Miss Sneha, if you could unmute yourself and ask your question. Miss Sneha. All right, I'll ask it. She has asked, how do you see India and Japan relationship?
India, Japan. Japan was one of the first country to recognize India after our independence. Japan has played very much crucial role in rebuilding of Indian economy. Japan has very much great contribution. If we see the recent Quad, India is a member of Quad organization as well as Japan also, and Japan has always invested in India's infrastructural programs like Delhi Metro is one of the major programs, and now bullet train is also a mega project we are doing in the collaboration with Japan. And I see that I have spoken earlier, we could see the soft power of Japan in India. We were grown up with Japanese cartoons like manga, comics, Shinchan, Doraemon, so we are very much familiar from our childhood with these things. We were very much fascinated, and we have very cordial relationship with them. Even I want to add one thing, that Subhash Chandra Bose ji, he took the help of Japanese to counter Britishers in our country. Japan helped us to form our first independent government. So it is very much necessary to see the bilateral relationship with India and Japan.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shant. Now, due to time constraint, I would like to take a last question from Miss Prachi. Miss Prachi, if you could unmute yourself and ask your question.
My question to the speaker would be that in the current globalized times, how India can benefit from the good Korea, good South Korea and Japan's relationship?
uh, Japan and South Korea has very much robust technological industries, and India is a growing economy. We need technology for betterment. We host 1.2 billion people. Technology is the only way to solve the problem of our people. And Japan and South Korea remains one of the largest trading partner. We have manufacturing units of Japanese goods. We have Japanese special economic zones in Rajasthan. We have manufacturing hubs of Samsung and LG in Uttar Pradesh. So they are providing us employment, technology, human resource. We could see the rapid growth of human resource development in these countries, how they eradicate poverty, diseases. So they remain very much crucial partner. Even our Prime Minister has said Atmanirbhar Bharat. So these countries remain very much crucial for us economically as well as militarily. They are very much essential to contain our aggressive neighbor, China. I'm talking about China. They are very much crucial partners and allies to contain Chinese influence.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ishant. The question answer round was really, really interesting. So now moving ahead, I would like to invite our guest of honor, Dr. Vivekanand sir, to give his insights, views, and opinions over the topic, talk, and event. Please, sir.
All right. Thank you, Priyanka. You hosted the program so well. Uh, at the beginning, I must congratulate from the bottom of my heart uh, Dr. Manish sir to have thought about such an initiative. This initiative happens to be one of the pioneering and I should say path breaking to have students on one platform and to have one amongst you to speak to you. See, generally what happens is since the time of this corona, there have been a lot of programs which are being conducted online, which are being organized online, and very big people come and speak to you, and that has become a general thing to you. So most of you, even if your teachers are asking to join, just to show your faces, you join, but you do not feel that you have a stake in the program. And therefore it's really praiseworthy on the part of praiseworthy and respect. Manish sir commands respect from the teachers community in Delhi University to have thought about such a program in which students themselves have stake. They themselves can organize. They are so much involved in the entire process. and they are the presenters, and they are also the audience. And therefore, you all, Manish sir, and the entire team which is involved in evolving these talks, and then popularizing these talks in the entire Delhi University, and I'm sure this will spread into various other universities also, and then you will soon have audiences across the country. And I'm also informed by Manish sir and the organizers that your program was also covered on Doordarshan, right? It was in Sunset TV. So, so that is such an appreciable thing. So, in a short span of time, you have achieved heights, and I'm sure the sky is the limit. You will keep going ahead and stretching your wings and then trying new ones. So, therefore, I must congratulate Manish sir and the entire team which is involved in the process. Uh, Another thing that I so vividly remembered and liked, and I appreciate that you started the program with Saraswati Vandana. Wherever we go, we must have our culture, our identity in the deepest of our heart. So you people are celebrating that. Ya kundendu tushara hara dhavalaya shubhra vastranvuta. That's such a beautiful prayer which I had been reciting since my childhood, since I happened to study in Saraswati Shishu Mandir. So it reminded me of my childhood days, and then uh, and the one who sang the prayer, who offered the prayer, did it so well. Apart from that, in terms of this presentation, South Korea and Japan, the relationship between South Korea and Japan. Initially, I thought this topic is supposed to be between the relationship between South Korea and Japan, but the presenter has very beautifully connected the relationship between South Korea and Japan while he outlined the historical baggage and the present situation between these two countries, and how the relationship between these uh, two nations, and Japan happens to be one of the very important nations in the Committee of Nations internationally, and Korea too, because Korea also is progressing steadily and very fast forward, and therefore the relationship between these two countries also has bearing on India's foreign relations, and he so beautifully brought that well. The program, another thing that I really liked is the program very much started on time. I was in some meeting, so I'm really sorry to have joined 2-3 minutes late. Maybe because of me, you had to wait. I apologize for that, but then you started the program very much on the time and ended it very much on the time. So that I must congratulate you to have inculcated this attitude of professionalism, not taking things casually, but taking things professionally. That is something that is really appreciable. I have been congratulating, and I wouldn't stop myself congratulating further for you have done such a wonderful job. There are one or two things that I thought of, one thing in particular, as the presenter talked about the new Cold War, and most of you, I believe, you are from science stream, and even if you are not the art stream, humanities and social science streams, and even if you're not from the humanities and social science stream, if somebody is from sciences stream, and if somebody wants to prepare for civil services in particular, because that also happens to be one of the important aspects of our aspirations, UPSC and then state civil services like BPSC, UPPCS, Rajasthan Public Service Commission, Haryana Public Service Commission, and various other states. So even if somebody is from science stream and wants to prepare for these exams, so the international relations part and the foreign policy part covers a significant portion of your exam in general studies. So it will help you out. And therefore, I'm sure all of you have been listening to all these discussions from the depth of your heart and by all your heart. But you must not take this entire exercise as just face showing exercise or participating exercise, but you must carry the attitude that you want to learn out of it. It is very important thing. So when I was talking about this new Cold War, this new Cold War particularly has ensued, or is sort of taking shape in the wake of this Russia and Ukraine crisis, which is ongoing. On one hand, we know United States of America and then European Union, and on the other hand, Russia. To an extent, China is supporting Russia, and India is sort of caught up between the conflict between these two groupings as of now. So India is sort of playing the tug of war, but India will have to play more tug of war to balance its relationship, because Japan happens to be one of the important partners in Quad. The Quad is the membership of four nations, that's Japan, Australia, US, and India. And India has developed, or sort of India is entered into this agreement because India wants to protect its interest in maritime, in terms of maritime issues, and particularly Indo-Pacific region and Indian Ocean. And so this very thoughtfully, the Quad was developed, the sort of alliance. India has always said it as non-military alliance. It was only for economic and other purposes. But then certain military aspects were certainly involved into that. So Japan happens to be one of the important pillars. So in the, as the situation is unfolding and the new Cold War might come up, or a sort of turbulent politics that we might witness in the international politics in the wake of, or in as a result of, the Russia and Ukraine Cold War. In such a situation, how India can be, I think, how India can deal with the evolving situation is also important thing uh, that you guys in future, I think, will have to talk about. Have you had a session on the various aspects of Russia-Ukraine conflict on this platform, sir?
And no, sir, not yet, sir.
Yeah, I think in the days to come, you may also organize a talk on that. That happens to be one of the important area, and even in terms of in your UPSC and other exams, you will certainly have a question on this conflict, and then its repercussions on India's foreign policy. That was one of the thing, and then he also talked about geopolitics. Geopolitics is something in the wake of this Russia-Ukraine crisis. Even geopolitics is undergoing a lot of changes. I'm sure you guys will take up all these programs seriously, and not just, you would not confine yourself to the programs alone, but you yourself would be more curious and would learn more things about the international affairs, and also India's interest in the world, how India is going to evolve its foreign policy in the changing world. And particularly, this entire thing would also be helpful to those students, apart from preparing for the civil services, state civil services, and the Union Public Service Commission. You will also have a career in international relations, particularly since I happen to be the student of Jawaharlal Nehru University and have done my MA in international relations and MPhil in international organizations. So haven't done PhD. You unnecessarily wrote doctor. I'm not still a doctor. I'm still a mister, but I'm a student of international relations and international organizations. You, most of you young guys, can take up your studies in international relations at Jawaharlal Nehru University and various other places. There is a South Asian University. They also have a department in international relations. And not only JNU and South Asian University, there are other central universities like University of Hyderabad, University of Central University of Pondicherry, Central University of Sikkim, and various other central universities to have a program in international relations. So you can take up your courses in those programs also after you completed your graduation. Once again, I'm really thankful to Manish sir and the organizing team of students to have me invited as guest of honor. In fact, actually, I'm really honored to be present here at this presentation. The presenter has done very professional job. Thank you so much, and congratulations to you, and wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. We are really grateful to have you, sir. Thanks a lot
Thank you.
for gracing the event with your presence, sir. Okay, now moving ahead, as history lovers, we believe in continuity. So I would like to call Mr. Raj Thakur, speaker of next Sunday, who will be addressing the GSTS 58th in a series. Mr. Raj Thakur.
Thank you, Priyanka. A very good evening, everyone. I'm Raj Thakur from BA Honours Political Science, Shamlal College Evening. In the next GSTS, that is GSTS 58, on 20th March, I am going to present a paper titled Perspectives on Colonialism, a New Approach. Some of the major objectives of my paper are: first, to make you understand about colonialism; second, to simplify the major perspectives and take them out of theoretical difficulties; third, to bring about a new approach to see the perspectives on colonialism. The new approach which I am going to highlight is totally motivated by a student's problem while approaching such topics. So what I did while I was reading the different perspectives, I found that there are some general mistakes which one can do while reading these perspectives. These mistakes are not reading the perspectives at first hand, not recognizing the interrelationships between these perspectives, and expecting from the perspective that this perspective will answer why colonialism occurred. So at first I pointed out these mistakes and found a way to navigate through this, and then I have tried to give a solution for the problem as well. So what is new about these perspectives? What is I haven't tried to bring a new perspective. मैंने किया क्या है इसमें कि जो existing perspectives है उन perspectives को देखने का नया तरीका क्या है. जो theoretical framework अभी चल रहा है उस theoretical framework को हटा करके हम नए तरीके से देखें, उस तरीके से ना देखें तो हमें आंसर मिल जाएगा. This thing I have tried to do. So I invite you all to join the 58th talk or 58th talk on 20th March and grace the event with your kind presence. Thank you very much all.
Kindly join us on next Sunday also for the talk of Mr. Raj. So now moving ahead, I am also an editor of our magnificent magazine, JCC, Journal of Continuity and Change. And so I would like to tell you all about it, what it is all about. And for this, I would request Ms. Divya to share her screen. Journal of Continuity and Change, JCC, is a monthly magazine, an initiative by Sakshya, the Society of History Department of Shamlal College Evening. We publish our magazine every month with a new theme dealing with the social, political, or economic issue of the particular month. First, let me introduce our team of editors: Ms. Priyanka Verma, myself, Ms. Archana Bharti, Ms. Divya Tyagi, Ms. Deepa Tiwari. Mr. Sahil Sharma as our visual art head, and Mr. Aradhya Tyagi as the PR manager for the magazine. The magazine was launched in July. It is my pleasure to announce that we have successfully completed the volume 1 of our magazine. Till today, we have already launched 8 editions of the magazine on the theme: The Population Bomb, Fear and Courage, The Next Frontier, Incredible India for October, Reminiscing Childhood, Deciphering 2021, Art of the Constitution, and the last edition of Volume 1, Science Splash. Our magazine features the work of our editors and the articles, poems, book reviews of budding scholars, which will help to shape their writing skills, their creativity, confidence, and will provide them a platform to publish their work. It is a pious attempt to nurture our upcoming scholars. Therefore, I would like to invite all of you to the grand launch of our magazine in the month of April. Again, I would like to invite you all to the grand launch of our magazine in the month of April. We hope that you keep supporting us like this further in the future also. At last, I would like to request all esteemed teachers and students to subscribe to the magazine and give us your valuable feedback. All the links have already been provided in the chat box. Thank you so much. Now moving ahead, thank you so much everyone for being with us. And as the event has come to its end, I would like to call Ms. Tisha Jain to give vote of thanks.
I believe that the relationship with the country is simply bounded to be the interest of the countries and not by the interest of personal issues. Good evening, everyone present here. I, Tisha Jain, scholar of first year BCom honors, deemed it to be a great honor and privilege to present the vote of thanks. First and foremost, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to today's guest of honor, Dr. Nartam Motiram sir, for attending the event and sharing his insightful thoughts. Thank you so much, sir. We are really grateful to have you in our event. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to thank to all the respected teachers for gracing us with their presence in this 57th GSTS event. Special thanks to Dr. Pankaj, Dr. Swati, Dr. Krishna, Dr. Anil, Dr. Dharma, Dr. Raman, Dr. Simi, and Dr. Vibha. Thank you to all the teachers. Now it's time to thank our star of the day, our speaker, Mr. Ishant Sharma, for giving such an interesting and remarkable talk on Japan and Korea relationship, neighborhood, challenges, and contradictions. Thank you so much, Mr. Ishant. Now, I wholeheartedly thanks to all the students from various departments and different colleges for being a part of us. Thank you for all your support and cooperation and making this 57th GSTS a successful one. We'll meet again on the next Sunday on 27th March 2022 with another fascinating talk of the insightful topic Perspective on Colonialism and its New Approach by Mr. Raj Thakur. Till then, stay safe, stay connected, and take care. Thank you, everyone.